Every day, the universe brings experiences we never expected. Some fill us with joy. Others leave us anxious, disappointed, or afraid of what might come next. Yet much of our suffering does not arise simply because these experiences occur. According to the Buddha's teachings, it is often the mind's habit of grasping, resisting, and clinging that turns uncertainty into worry. The good news is that these habits are not permanent. They can be understood, gently weakened, and gradually transformed through wisdom and mindful practice. In this video, we'll explore 10 Buddhist antidotes to worry, rooted in timeless teachings that continue to guide people toward greater peace. Stay with me, and together we'll discover how lasting happiness grows, not from controlling what the universe brings, but from learning to meet each moment with clarity, compassion, and an open heart. 1. Stop demanding certainty from an uncertain world. Many of our worries begin with a quiet demand that we rarely notice. We ask life to become predictable. We want tomorrow to unfold exactly as we imagine. We hope that the people we love will never change, that our health will remain stable, that our plans will succeed, and that nothing unexpected will interrupt the story we have written in our minds. But Buddhism invites us to examine this expectation itself. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are impermanent. Everything that arises will eventually change. This is not presented as a gloomy belief, but as an observation about reality. Seasons change, bodies age, relationships evolve, thoughts appear and disappear. Even the emotions that seem overwhelming today will not remain forever. If change is the nature of life, then expecting permanence creates unnecessary conflict within us. Notice what happens when rain begins during a carefully planned day. The rain is only rain, yet the mind immediately says, "This should not be happening." Much of our suffering comes not from the weather itself, but from arguing with what has already occurred. The same process happens with larger concerns. We worry because we silently insist that life should guarantee us security, yet nowhere do we find such a promise. This realization is not meant to make you hopeless. It can actually become deeply freeing. Imagine carrying a heavy box for many years before discovering you were never required to carry it at all. In much the same way, we spend enormous energy trying to force certainty onto a world that has never offered it. The Buddhist path encourages a different response. Rather than asking, "How can I make everything certain?" we begin asking, "How can I meet uncertainty wisely?" That small change transforms the heart. When uncertainty is no longer treated as an enemy, worry begins to lose much of its strength. Life continues to change, but the mind becomes less frightened by change itself. Perhaps peace does not come from making the world more predictable. Perhaps it comes from no longer demanding that it be. 2. Notice how the mind creates futures that do not exist. Have you ever caught yourself solving problems that have not happened? Perhaps someone did not reply to your message. Within minutes, the mind begins writing an entire story. Maybe they are upset. Maybe something terrible happened. Maybe the friendship is ending. None of these events have actually occurred, yet the body reacts as though they already have. Buddhism places great importance on understanding how the mind constructs experience. The Buddha taught that our suffering is shaped not only by external conditions, but also by the mental formations that arise around them. Thoughts, interpretations, assumptions, and expectations influence how we experience the world. This does not mean reality is imaginary. Rather, it reminds us that we often add layers to reality before seeing things clearly. Worry thrives inside these imagined layers. One thought becomes another. One possibility becomes 10. Soon we are responding not to the present moment, but to countless futures that exist only in imagination. This habit can become so familiar that we mistake it for wisdom. We tell ourselves we are preparing for life. Sometimes practical planning is indeed necessary. Buddhism does not discourage careful preparation, but there is an important difference between thoughtful planning and endless mental wandering. Planning finishes its work. Worry never believes it has done enough. It keeps searching for another danger, another uncertainty, another answer. The Buddha encouraged careful observation of the mind. Instead of immediately believing every thought, we learn to notice its appearance. A worried thought arises. We recognize it. We do not have to become it. Like clouds crossing the sky, thoughts continue moving when they are not constantly fed with attention. This takes patience. It is not about forcing the mind to become empty. It is about seeing mental activity for what it is, an event taking place within awareness, not an unquestionable description of reality. As this understanding deepens, something remarkable begins to happen. The future slowly returns to where it belongs. It becomes tomorrow's responsibility instead of today's burden. 3. Let go of the habit of measuring every moment. Many worries are born from constant comparison. We compare ourselves with who we were years ago. We compare our lives with those of strangers. We compare today's circumstances with an imagined future that seems more successful, more peaceful, or more secure. Without noticing, comparison becomes the ruler by which every experience is judged. The Buddha often spoke about craving as one of the roots of suffering. Craving is not simply wanting pleasant things. It is the restless insistence that reality must become different before we can be at ease. Comparison quietly strengthens this habit. If someone else appears happier, we feel incomplete. If our career has not progressed as expected, we fear we have fallen behind. If life does not match our personal timetable, worry begins whispering that something has gone terribly wrong. But compared with what? Often the standard exists only in our imagination. Buddhist practice gently encourages us to return to direct experience instead of imagined measurements. This breath, this conversation, this ordinary morning. These moments rarely carry the weight that the comparing mind places upon them. Notice how peaceful a simple walk can become when you stop asking whether it should be more productive. Notice how much lighter a conversation feels when you stop wondering whether people approve of you. The world itself has not changed. Only the measuring has stopped. This does not mean abandoning healthy aspirations. Buddhism never teaches indifference toward wholesome effort. It encourages diligence, generosity, ethical conduct, and wisdom. But it also reminds us that our peace should not depend entirely on outcomes that remain uncertain. The comparing mind always finds another standard. The contented mind learns to appreciate what is already present. Perhaps happiness grows quietly whenever comparison becomes less important than attention. Instead of asking whether your life matches someone else's, simply ask whether your own heart is becoming kinder, calmer, and more understanding than it was yesterday. That question leads in a very different direction. 4. See that clinging makes worry feel permanent. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If your hand remains open, the sand rests naturally upon your palm, but the harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Much of worry works in a similar way. The more tightly we cling to particular outcomes, identities, possessions, or expectations, the more frightened we become of losing them. One of the central teachings in Buddhism is that attachment, or clinging, gives rise to suffering. This does not mean we should stop loving people or appreciating the good things in life. Rather, it invites us to notice when appreciation quietly transforms into possessiveness. We begin saying, "This must never change," or "I cannot be happy unless this remains exactly as it is." Life rarely agrees with such conditions. Everything that comes together will one day separate. Everything that begins will eventually end. These observations are not meant to discourage us. They encourage a different kind of relationship with the world. You can enjoy a beautiful sunset without trying to stop the sun from setting. You can cherish a conversation without demanding that it last forever. Likewise, you can love the people around you while understanding that they, like you, are subject to change. This understanding often makes love gentler rather than weaker. Instead of grasping, there is gratitude. Instead of ownership, there is appreciation. Worry becomes lighter because it no longer carries the impossible task of protecting every pleasant experience from change. The Buddha pointed toward freedom not by asking us to reject life, but by helping us loosen the grip with which we hold it. The surprising discovery is that when the grip softens, peace often grows stronger. Perhaps what you fear losing has never truly belonged to you in the first place. It has simply been entrusted to your care for a little while, and that realization can make each moment more precious rather than more frightening. 5. Train the mind before difficult days arrive. When storms arrive at sea, sailors do not begin learning how to steer. The learning happens long before the waves become dangerous. The Buddha described mental cultivation in much the same way. Many people become interested in inner peace only after worry has completely overwhelmed them. They search desperately for something that will remove fear immediately. Yet Buddhist practice is less like finding an emergency escape and more like patiently strengthening a foundation. Every moment of mindfulness is a small act of preparation. Every moment of ethical conduct steadies the heart. Every moment of generosity weakens self-centered fear. Every moment spent observing the breath teaches the mind that it does not have to chase every thought. These practices may appear ordinary. Their value often becomes visible only later. Imagine two people facing the same unexpected hardship. Neither can control what has happened. Yet one mind immediately collapses into panic, while the other remains steady enough to respond wisely. The difference may not lie in personality. It may lie in years of quiet cultivation. The Buddha frequently compared mental development to gradual training. Just as a tree grows little by little, wisdom deepens through repeated practice rather than dramatic transformation. This perspective changes how we think about peaceful moments. A calm afternoon is no longer something to waste. It becomes an opportunity to strengthen qualities that will support us when life becomes difficult again. Mindfulness practice today becomes stability tomorrow. Patience practice today becomes resilience tomorrow. Compassion practice today becomes courage tomorrow. None of these qualities remove uncertainty from life, but they change the one place where genuine freedom can gradually grow: your own mind. And perhaps that is the safest refuge Buddhism invites us to cultivate. Not a place where difficult experiences never arise, but a mind increasingly capable of meeting them without becoming lost. 6. Learn to rest in the present instead of living in tomorrow. There is a quiet question that worry asks again and again. What will happen next? The mind believes that if it thinks long enough, it will eventually discover an answer that removes all uncertainty. Yet the more it searches, the further it drifts from the only place where life is actually unfolding: the present moment. Throughout the Buddhist teachings, mindfulness is not described as an escape from reality, but as a direct encounter with it. To be mindful is to know what is happening while it is happening, without immediately becoming lost in memory, expectation, or judgment. This sounds simple, but it is one of the most difficult habits to cultivate. While washing dishes, the mind is already at tomorrow's meeting. While speaking with a loved one, it quietly rehearses future conversations. While resting, it worries that it should be doing something else. Little by little, we begin living almost everywhere except where our feet are. The Buddha repeatedly encouraged careful attention to the body, breathing, feelings, and states of mind, because these are always available in the present. They become anchors whenever the current of anxiety tries to carry us into imagined futures. This does not mean ignoring responsibilities. If a decision must be made, make it with care. If work needs to be done, do it wholeheartedly. But once the appropriate action has been taken, continuing to replay the same concern rarely produces wisdom. More often, it produces exhaustion. Notice how many beautiful moments pass unnoticed because the mind is negotiating with a future that has not arrived. A breeze enters through the window. Someone smiles. Birdsong appears for a moment and disappears. These ordinary experiences often seem too small to deserve our attention. Yet Buddhism gently points in the opposite direction. A peaceful life is not built only from extraordinary events. It is built from countless ordinary moments that are finally seen clearly. When attention returns to what is here, worry has less room to expand. Tomorrow will arrive in its own time. You do not have to arrive there before it does. 7. Remember that everything you meet is also changing. One reason worry feels so convincing is that we secretly believe the difficult moment before us will last forever. When pain appears, we imagine it becoming permanent. When uncertainty arrives, we assume it will define the rest of our lives. When disappointment visits, we begin building an entire future around it. Yet this is rarely how experience unfolds. One of the deepest insights in Buddhism is impermanence, not simply as an idea to understand intellectually, but as something we can observe directly. Every sensation changes, every emotion shifts, every sound begins and ends, every thought appears for a time before fading away. Even worry itself obeys this law. Think back to something that once kept you awake at night. Perhaps you believed you would never recover from it. And yet, here you are. Life continued moving. Your understanding changed. The mind found concerns it never could have imagined back then. This does not diminish the difficulty of what you experienced. It simply reminds us that no mental state remains fixed forever. The Buddha encouraged close observation because wisdom grows from seeing change directly rather than merely believing in it. During meditation, practitioners notice that each breath begins, lingers briefly, and disappears. Feelings arise and pass away. Sounds enter awareness and vanish again. Nothing stays. This insight slowly transforms our relationship with worry. Instead of saying, "This fear will always be with me," we begin asking, "Can I actually know that?" Usually, we cannot. The mind is making permanence out of something that is already changing. Even the people who trouble us are changing. The circumstances we fear are changing. Our own understanding is changing. Recognizing impermanence does not remove grief or uncertainty overnight. Instead, it softens the belief that today's experience must determine tomorrow's reality. This softening creates space for patience. Rather than demanding immediate relief, we allow life to unfold according to its nature. Like clouds crossing an open sky, experiences continue moving even when they seem determined to stay. And perhaps one reason the Buddha emphasized impermanence so often was not to make us dwell on endings, but to remind us that no season of suffering remains exactly as it is forever. 8. Replace the question, "Why me?" with "What can be understood here?" When something difficult happens, the mind often responds with protest before it responds with understanding. Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Why is life unfair? These questions are deeply human. They arise almost automatically whenever pain enters our lives. Yet Buddhism gently redirects our attention. Rather than becoming trapped in endless speculation about why events occurred, the teachings encourage us to investigate what is happening in our own experience right now. What is this feeling? How does worry arise? What thoughts are feeding it? Can it be observed without immediately believing every story it tells? This movement from blame to observation is subtle, but it changes everything. The Buddha consistently emphasized direct knowing. Instead of constructing elaborate explanations about existence, he invited people to examine suffering, its causes, its cessation, and the path leading toward its ending. Notice how practical this approach is. When you burn your hand on a hot cup, your first concern is not composing theories about heat. You simply understand that contact with something hot brings pain, and you respond wisely. Likewise, when anxiety appears, Buddhism encourages investigation rather than condemnation. Not because investigation instantly removes discomfort, but because understanding gradually weakens confusion. Suppose someone speaks harshly to you. One response is to spend days wondering why they behave that way. Another is to notice what is happening inside your own mind. Is anger growing? Is fear growing? Which reactions are increasing suffering, and which ones allow peace to remain? This inward investigation is not selfish. It is precisely where freedom becomes possible. We rarely control another person's words, but we can slowly become more familiar with the patterns of our own hearts. This familiarity brings compassion. Instead of criticizing yourself for worrying, you begin understanding worry as a conditioned process, something arises. It has causes. Because it has causes, it can also fade when those causes are no longer nourished. This understanding brings hope, not the hope that life will become perfect, but the quieter confidence that wisdom can continue growing even in imperfect circumstances. 9. Let compassion become stronger than fear. Worry often narrows the world. When fear becomes intense, attention shrinks until almost everything revolves around protecting ourselves, our future, our reputation, our plans. This reaction is understandable. The mind instinctively seeks safety, yet Buddhism offers a remarkable antidote. Instead of becoming increasingly absorbed in ourselves, we gradually expand the heart. The Buddha frequently encouraged the cultivation of loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. These qualities are known together as the Brahma Viharas, or the sublime abodes. They are not merely pleasant emotions. They are ways of relating to all living beings that weaken hatred, envy, fear, and selfish attachment. Notice what happens when genuine compassion appears. For a brief moment, the mind is no longer asking, "What if something happens to me?" It begins asking, "May others also be free from suffering?" This shift is not denial, it is expansion. The heart becomes larger than the fear it was carrying. Consider how many people are quietly facing uncertainty today. Someone is waiting for medical results. Someone is grieving. Someone has lost a home. Someone is caring for an aging parent. Someone is lying awake with the same worries you have carried. Recognizing this does not minimize your own struggles. Instead, it reminds you that suffering is a shared aspect of human existence. This understanding often gives rise to tenderness rather than isolation. Even small acts of kindness begin changing the atmosphere of the mind. A patient conversation, an honest apology, a generous gesture. None of these actions eliminate every problem, yet they gradually loosen the tight knot of self-concern where worry often takes root. Importantly, compassion in Buddhism also includes yourself, not indulgence, but meeting your own fear with the same patience you would offer a dear friend. When anxiety appears, perhaps the wisest response is not to wage war against it. Perhaps it is to notice it gently, understand its causes, and continue choosing kindness anyway. Fear contracts, compassion opens, and an open heart has far more room for peace. 10. Discover the freedom of letting life be your teacher. Many people spend years believing happiness will finally arrive once life becomes predictable, once the perfect opportunity appears, once every problem has been solved. But if happiness depends upon such conditions, it remains permanently postponed. Buddhism points toward another possibility. Instead of waiting for life to become agreeable, we begin allowing life itself to become our teacher. Every pleasant experience teaches us about gratitude without clinging. Every difficult experience teaches patience. Every disappointment reveals where attachment still remains. The Buddha never suggested that awakening depends upon arranging ideal circumstances. Again and again, he emphasized understanding experience as it truly is. This includes joy and sorrow. This includes success and failure. Each becomes part of the path when met with mindful attention. Imagine walking through a forest. Some sections are bright with sunlight. Others are shaded and quiet. The path continues through both. No traveler expects every step to look identical. Likewise, life unfolds through changing conditions. The peaceful mind does not demand that every moment resemble the last. It learns from each one. This perspective transforms worry. Instead of asking whether the future will satisfy your expectations, you begin asking whether you can meet whatever comes with increasing wisdom. That question has no final answer. It becomes a lifelong practice. There will still be moments of uncertainty. There will still be losses that bring tears. The Buddhist path never promises that these experiences disappear forever. It promises something quieter, that through ethical living, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, your relationship to these experiences can gradually change. The storms may still arrive, but they no longer determine the condition of your heart. Eventually, you realize that peace was never hidden somewhere in the future. It was growing each time you released one unnecessary fear, each time you chose understanding instead of resistance. And perhaps happiness has never depended on receiving exactly what you wanted. Perhaps it begins when you stop arguing with the changing nature of life and start meeting it with clarity, compassion, and an open mind. Thank you for spending this time with mindfulness. If even one of these Buddhist antidotes stays with you today, allow it to accompany you gently rather than expecting immediate transformation. Wisdom grows through repeated practice, not through a single moment of inspiration. May your days become a little lighter, your heart a little steadier, and your mind a little freer each time you meet life exactly as it is.